How's it going, trophy hunters? Welcome back to the channel. Now today we're taking a look at 8 really awesome PlayStation VR games that you can pick up on the PlayStation Store summer sale for cheap right now. I know the summer sale ends in a couple of days time, so I wanted to make sure I got this video up beforehand. If the summer sale has ended and you're watching this video later, this still applies. These are still 8 awesome PlayStation VR games that you should check out or pick up that you may not have played or even heard of before. So let's take a look at all 8 of these awesome PlayStation VR games. First up on our list, we have Superhot VR. I've talked about Superhot on the channel a number of times, but its VR version is honestly, I think, the best way to play this game. I personally dug this more than the original. Obviously, Superhot is a simulation-style Matrix game. Basically, the way it works, if you're not familiar, is that anytime you move, the environment moves around you, but if you stay still, then so does the environment. To play this game, you kind of have to strategically plan out where you're going to move to, where you're going to shoot, where the enemy is going to be, and then kind of enact your moves and things as you play. In VR, you're fully immersed in this game, and it's just an amazingly fun experience. Trophy-wise, it is not an easy platinum. Even in VR, this is a hard platinum. It's going to take you around 15 hours to complete the platinum in this one, and it's going to be about an 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, so it's a relatively high difficulty. However, if you're looking for a PlayStation VR game that is top notch and you're just gonna have a ton of fun with this game, it comes highly recommended from me, and I highly suggest you check this out if you haven't already. Tetris Effect. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of this one. The trailer you can see playing now is that kind of crazy bombastic trailer with some awesome music pumping in the background, and this was a really funny one. It launched a couple of years ago now, and it didn't really get too much buzz. Recently, we've been told it's coming to Xbox, and it's going to be releasing on Microsoft's platform as well. So that goes to show how popular this game is. Now, this takes everything from Tetris and rhythm games and kind of combines them, and you have this sort of awesome rhythmic Tetris game with an amazing soundtrack. If you like Tetris, which I think most people do, you're going to love this game, and I would really suggest checking this one out as well. In terms of the platinum, it is very, very challenging. This one is going to take you, like all puzzle games, the time is going to vary, but I would say upwards of 60 plus hours to platinum this game, because you need to get S rank all the puzzles, or double S rank in all the puzzles, which is a very challenging task given it's Tetris. Unless you're some sort of Tetris savant, probably going to be a 9 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, so maybe not your best trophy hunting game to play. However, it is a fantastic VR game, and it also plays in non-VR as well. So if you're after this game just to play on your normal PlayStation without a VR headset, then this one's going to work really well for you too. And it's probably the best version of Tetris that we've seen on PlayStation. Borderlands 2 also makes the list from the PlayStation Summer Sale. This is Borderlands 2 VR. It's the same game that you know and love from the PlayStation 3, remastered and ported over to PS4 and VR. Now with that, it means the trophy list and everything stays almost identical, except it removes the co-op trophies, because unfortunately it is the one feature that is missing from this game. They did include the DLC in this as well, so that's all part of the package. However, they took co-op out of the game, which is a massive shame, because playing this game in co-op and VR would have been an absolute blast, and it really does suck that they removed it. Trophy-wise though, everything else remains the same. 5 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. It's going to take you around 50 hours or so to platinum this game. If you've played Borderlands 2 before, you know what you're in for, but like me, I loved the game on the 360 and the PS3, so being able to experience it in VR was a pretty incredible experience, and it runs exceptionally well considering how large the game actually is. Trevor Says the Universe it's a weird one. It's a third-person action game at heart, and like Tetris Effect, this one can actually be played non-VR as well. So if you don't have a VR headset, then you can enjoy the entirety of this game without, having a VR headset. Play as Trevor, or you actually don't. You play as this guy sitting on a chair observing Trevor, and you control Trevor with your controller. So you can kind of look down, you see him holding a controller there floating. It's a whole weird meta thing where you're playing as a guy in the game. I know, it's crazy, right? The game is developed by the developers of Rick and Morty, Squanch Games. It's all voiced by Justin Roiland. He obviously does the voices of Rick and Morty. It's hilarious. The game is a lot of fun. It's very, very funny. I haven't laughed out loud at a game this much probably since the South Park game, and that's a very different type of humor, but I would highly recommend this one if you're looking for a fun, sort of simple action hack and slash VR game. And the dialogue and everything is just, it's really top notch. The game itself is going to take you around 10 hours to platinum, and the difficulty is around a 3 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. It's not a super hard plat. You've got to play through the game only once, and you have to do a little bit of backtracking for collectibles and things like that. But otherwise, the platinum is very, very obtainable, and it's a pretty decent trophy list, I would say. Now, Carnival Games VR is the only game on our list that doesn't have a platinum trophy, sadly. It's a real bummer as well, because this game is actually a really fun, like, mini game collection. You might remember these games from the Wii and like the PlayStation 3 era, where they had these kind of mini game carnival collections. And the VR version of the game is really good. The controls are really responsive. All the mini games work really well. That's basically what you're getting. If you know what you're going in for, then at the right price, this game is very much worthwhile your time. However, the trophy list, for 100%, it's kind of a hard one to like recommend per se if you're a trophy hunter. The trophy list is probably going to take you around 15 or so hours to complete, and it's probably going to be somewhere like a 6 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, just because some of the mini games in there are quite challenging as well. So it's worth keeping in mind. Maybe not so much for trophies, but if you're after a really cool VR game that you can kind of go into, chill out, play some mini games and things like that, then this is the perfect mini game collection. Ace Combat 7 is another massive VR game that launched last year. This one can be played entirely out of VR as well as in VR, and it's another Ace Combat game. It's a full Ace Combat game that's playable in virtual reality, which is really cool. These kind of games work very well in VR, sitting in the cockpit of your plane, flying around, looking around, you know, as you go. It works because you kind of have that, the brain gets tricked into the illusion of actually flying a jet since you're sitting in a seat, and you know, it all feels legit. Trophy wise, being an Ace Combat game, it's a very challenging platinum. It's around a 7 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, and it's going to take you around 50 to 60 hours to complete the platinum in this one. It's absolutely not for the faint of heart if you're after the platinum trophy in this, but the game itself is a ton of fun to play just as an awesome VR game. Sadly, Dirt Rally VR also has an incredibly difficult platinum list as well. It's going to take you around the same amount of time, about 50 or so hours to platinum this one, and it's going to be about a 7 or an 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, just given how some of the tracks play and some of the requirements for the platinum are. There are also a ton of online trophies in this game as well, so it's worth pointing out if you're going to play this one for the trophies themselves. Now, the game itself is actually a ton of fun. It's a driving game in VR. Like Ace Combat, this game works really well in VR because you're literally sitting in the cockpit of your car, or the driver's seat of your car driving. You're playing with a steering wheel. That illusion gets kind of brought even further forward, but with a DualShock, it still runs very, very well. I find that driving games move so quickly that if you're not super familiar with VR, they may give you motion sickness, but after you've played a decent amount of VR games, they kind of become second nature to you, and as long as you're not moving your head around too much, they just work. They work really, really well. And the last game on the list is Rez Infinite. Rez is basically like a puzzle rhythm game, I would say. It's probably the best way to explain what it is. It's kind of best seen and played to kind of understand it and get a real feel for it, but you play in kind of this like third person view as you're following this, I guess, like spirit or AI as they're kind of progressing through this musical, like on the rails shooter type experience. It's definitely an interesting one. This was one of the first games that launched for PlayStation VR, so this kind of showcased what was available and what you could do in VR, and they did a really good job of this game. Its platinum is quite challenging as well. It's about a 4 out of 10. It's going to take you around 15 hours. The beauty of this game is that it still holds up today as one of the better VR games that are on the platform. And the coolest part about it is it allows you to kind of show where VR has come in the last 5 years. Looking at a launch title to a title that launched more recently, it gives you a really good indication of just how far the platform has come forward. Despite it coming out a few years ago, this game is still fantastic and it's still absolutely worth checking out if you're looking for a new VR game to play. Alright guys, and that is our full list of PlayStation VR games that you can pick up on the PlayStation Store summer sale. What did you guys think of it? Have you played many of these games? Are you keen to play any of these games? Maybe you own all of them, maybe you own none of them, maybe you own a VR, maybe you don't. Actually, I'm curious to find out how many of you guys do own PlayStation VR headsets. Hopefully you guys do have them so that this is kind of relevant to you. But there you go, that's 8 awesome VR games that you can pick up currently on the PlayStation Store summer sale. Most of them have pretty decent trophy lists. A couple of them are super, super hard. One of them doesn't have a platinum. What are you going to do, right? I am, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a like if you're a new viewer of the channel. Please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Have a great day.